Hi, this is Chatboxing. I'm Sean, and this video is going to be about Errol Spence. Now, I've made quite a few videos about the Kell Brook-Errol Spence fight. I made a video about a week ago, I think, talking about experience. Now, I made that video because I saw another video someone else made about experience between the two. I thought it was an interesting topic, and I had a few things I wanted to say about it. So I think a lot of people have seen that video and got the wrong end of the stick. Thought that I'm basically saying Errol Spence is shit, that he's never done anything, he's got no chance in the fight, etc., etc. So what I thought I'd do now, I thought I'd make a video giving my honest opinion, really, how I see this infamous Spencer character. Well, let's start off then with, he came to my attention first, I think, in the London Olympics 2012. Now, to be honest, I don't really remember seeing his fights. I was actually on holiday for quite a lot of that. I remember watching like a lot of the English ones on the internet. I was deliberately seeking them out. I didn't really see a lot of the other stuff, but I do remember the name, and I do remember his people talking about him like he was like the one to look out for from America. Now, he didn't win. I think he lost a couple of times in England, so a bit of a pattern emerging there possibly. But yeah, that's what I first heard the name. Then I'd heard a couple of stories about him inspiring, and he'd gone in there and like bashed up Mayweather and Broner and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest, I quite like that. I like the fact that what I don't like is people who are sort of in awe of other people, who think that other people are really special. Do you know what I mean? Like people who meet, like for example, the way Adrian Broner is with Mayweather. I've always found it embarrassing. You know what I mean? Like you're in the same sport as him, and you're there just kissing his ass. Like, don't call him your big bro and all this. To me, I don't like all that. It's an embarrassment. So Errol Spence goes in there, from what I can hear, a nobody. No one knows who he is. Goes in to spar Floyd Mayweather. Possibly the biggest ego in certainly in American boxing. Maybe I don't know, but he's one of the biggest egos out there, biggest stars in boxing. And Errol Spence just goes in there. I don't care who you are, mate. Puts it on him, gives him a bit of a hard time, bowl of counts. To me, I like that attitude. I like that style, especially at that age. So straight away, I was thinking, yeah, I quite like the sound of this bloke. Then I started watching. I found channel Black Fight Fan TV, saw a couple of his videos, subscribed to his channel, liked his stuff. Started listening to a few of his Errol Spence videos, and he was he's one of the original that I can think of, that I can remember. He's sort of original Errol Spence fans, at least on YouTube. Like one of the people that's been backing him and been like supporting him for as long as I can remember, really. Recently, we've had a bit of an explosion of Errol Spence fans. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that kind of thing personally. But I know some people do talk about like jumping on a bandwagon or just getting beyond whatever. I mean, I don't really have a problem with that. But anyway, I started watching his videos about Errol Spence, and he made a video about. He said that Kell Brook was going to duck Errol Spence. He was one of the. I don't know if he's the original, but he was one of them. Saying he was going to go to 154 pounds, vacate his title. I told him it wasn't going to happen. I've been proven to be right there, my friend. We kind of went back and forth a bit on that. I've been kind of debating this with him for a couple of years. Well, I don't know, 18 months, however long it is. So this has been a topic for quite some time. So yeah, shout out to him. I know like a lot of people on YouTube get a bit wound up with other people's opinions. I mean, he's someone who is a big fan of Errol Spence, big supporter, doesn't particularly rate Kell Brook that highly, doesn't make any secret of that, doesn't make any apology for that, and why should he? You know what I mean? It's his opinion. If he doesn't think Kell Brook's very good, he thinks Errol Spence is going to destroy him, then that's his opinion. I know a lot of people on here get a bit wound up. But yeah, he's a top bloke. I've been sort of going back and forth with him for 18 months on this, or however long it is. He's a top bloke. Shout out to him. I then started seeing more people going on about this sort of Errol Spence, Kell Brook's going to duck him, and it started to get on my nerves a little bit, to be honest, because Errol Spence wasn't even the mandatory at that time for Kell Brook. And Kell Brook went and fought Golovkin, and then he later became mandatory. But anyway, going off on a bit of a tangent. So then I started to see more and more people get behind Errol. So this thing about Keith Thurman, people saying that Keith Thurman was ducking Errol Spence. Now, from what I can remember, Keith Thurman was the mandatory challenger for Floyd Mayweather. Now, I understand other people were mandatory challengers as well. He had like different belts. But Keith Thurman was a very legitimate fight for Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather didn't want to fight him, you know. We can argue about the reasons for that. I personally think he didn't really fancy it. He thought Keith Thurman was a very, very tough fight for him, and he preferred to fight Andre Berto instead, or whoever else. But he didn't want to fight Thurman. He obviously didn't want to fight Kell Brook either. He could have done that and been undisputed. I think he saw. I probably didn't want to fight Sean Porter either. I think at that stage in his career, he didn't really fancy that. So he then used, to me, Errol Spence as a bodyguard, saying, well, you got to fight Errol Spence instead. Like, you're not ready to fight me. You're ducking Errol Spence. Keith Thurman, in my opinion, rightfully so, basically told Floyd Mayweather to fuck off. You know, he's like, you're not going to basically tell me what I need to do. I've worked my way up to fight against you. So now you're just saying to me, oh, now you have to fight this bloke because I tell you to. So I think it was a bit unfair that Keith Thurman was considered by some to be ducking Errol Spence. I didn't see any evidence of that. He was under no obligation to fight Errol Spence. He got himself into a position. Errol Spence now is starting to make his name. The only person who was obligated really to fight Errol Spence was Kell Brook. So Keith Thurman, would he be in a rush to fight Errol Spence? Probably not, but I don't think it's fair to say that he was ducking him. So I think he gained a lot of notoriety based on, really what people had said rather than what he'd actually done. Now, in terms of him as a fighter, I do think he's very good from what I've seen. I've got to be honest. Now, I know I've got this bet with NPT Boxing, another person on another hardcore Spencer character on here, and Black Fire Fan TV, and they're both pretty confident that Errol Spence is going to beat Kell Brook. Now, I think Kell Brook's going to beat Errol Spence, but I've got to be honest, I'm not going to pretend that I'm like 100% confident, and I'm not going to give an opinion just because I want to be on one side. Do you know what I mean? I'll tell you exactly how I see it. For me, I see it as a very difficult fight to call, a very tough fight for both of them. And I haven't really seen enough of Errol Spence for me to really tell you 100%. Now, from what I've seen of him, I've been pretty impressed. He's obviously a good puncher. He seems to have a pretty good engine. He hasn't gone. I don't think he's gone 12 rounds, but he fights at quite a fast pace, a quite intense pace. He's got very good balance. When he comes in and out, he doesn't have particularly fancy footwork. Do you know what I mean? He's not moving all around the ring. He's not that mobile from what I can see, but he's efficient with his footwork, and he's very good in and out movement. Now he can come in and attack you and basically keep himself quite well defended at the same time. I mean, he does get hit. Obviously, he gets hit because he's an offensive fighter, but I don't think he's not someone who just comes. He's not like a Sean Porter who just sort of steams in head first and starts flailing. He does have some method to his madness. He sort of comes in. He's quite predictable, to be honest. He comes in behind his, he's got his jab, he doubles up, and then he comes with the big left hand after that. And he is quite predictable, but at the same time, so far it's been quite difficult for people to deal with. As I say, the balance that he has is very good, and he's got good, little pivots, side to side movement. He'll come in, he'll hit you and he'll move off somewhere else, bang, and he'll catch you in the other part of the body. Like, he'll get you one place and spin around, boom, he'll get you there, move around, bang. So he varies it up. quite nicely. It's difficult to defend against him from what I can see. As I say, he'll move in and out of range pretty well. Just a little step back, little step in, just subtle movement, but it is effective. Um, he looks very strong, he looks powerful, um, and he looks very composed as well. Now, one thing I would say is that all the fights I've seen him in, he's been able to impose his sort of physicality on people, which is basically his style. Yeah, he's got good, as I say, repeat myself, he's got good balance. He's got quite good um, movement and quite good boxing fundamentals. But he's primarily someone who just gets on top of you and just basically beats you up. That's what he does. Now, so far, he's been able to do that against people who are basically no threat. You know what I mean? They don't hit hard. They're not physically strong. He's not really worried about anything coming back at him. So that benefits him in terms of how he can just sort of basically impose himself, come in, and beat you up, basically. But it also means that if you're someone like, I don't know, like Chris Algieri or Chris Van Heerden or Bundu, these kind of characters, they can be intimidated basically by Errol Spence. So when he comes in and he's like kind of putting it on you, you don't really want to trade with him because you know that he's bigger than you. You know he hits harder. You know he's stronger, and he can get you from pretty good angles. So if you really don't have anything to offer coming back, then it's quite easy for you to really not come back with anything. Do you know what I mean? So that helps. That makes it look, in my opinion, more formidable than it will do if he's fighting a Kell Brook or a Keith Thurman, someone like that. So I'm going to have to see how well that translates to sort of find a live opponent. I mean, so far so good. I mean, what I've seen, I do like the style. I do like I like the way. I like his attitude. I told you I talked about the attitude with the Floyd Mayweather thing. Just his attitude towards fighting. He's outside of the ring. He seems to be a very quiet, chilled out, quite sort of mild mannered bloke from what I've seen. But then when he gets into the ring, he just completely changes. Just turns into a killer, basically. He just basically get on you, push you back, rough you up, and just basically really just give you a beating. So if you're not physically able to, give something back, then it's going to be very difficult against someone like that. So I think that's what we've seen so far. Having done that, he's done it in quite a sort of stylish way, and he's got it. I think the fact that, like, if you look at the Chris Algieri fight, you could just see in that Chris Algieri was just sort of overwhelmed, not just by because basically he had every advantage over Algieri. I mean, he's bigger, stronger, more skillful, much better punch selection. I mean, there's just literally no advantage that Chris Algieri had in that fight. Possibly, you could argue that he was sort of better at like running away, like he did against Pacquiao. But that's it, and he didn't use that in that fight. So you could just see, like after about 4, he was literally just like he'd had enough. I mean, he couldn't do anything. Like just bash him up like this side, bash him up here, there, just beating him up all over the place, moving around, boom, boom, over here, bang. He's just like no respite for him. Like every 2 seconds, he just get hit hard in a different place, and he was just like, I made a mistake signing up for this. So I think it's going to take someone pretty special to beat fucking Al Heyman. I'm going to ring back. So I think it's going to take someone pretty special to beat Errol Spence. He's going to be someone. That's why I say someone like Kell Brook. It's going to be very hard for him, but I do think he has the ability to do it. That's for another video. But yeah, Errol Spence. He's got definitely has the style, has the skill, has everything. But I'm going to need to see it against someone who can hit back, who can basically withstand that, and who can basically push him back a little bit. Because I've seen, it does seem to have people are getting carried away. Now, I'm not someone who looks at someone and says, right, well, he hasn't beaten anyone, so he's nothing. I don't see it like that. I can look at someone and I can think, yeah, this bloke is good. I can look at Errol Spence and definitely think he's very good. He's got very good skill. He's got a very good mindset. He's very composed. He's a very good fighter. But you still need to see him fight someone who's kind of on his level, because a lot of like his style and his attributes are very effective in mismatches. They look particularly effective. Whereas somebody like, I don't know, someone like Mayweather, for example, he's pulled this example out of the sky, but he doesn't have the style where he's just going to just dominate and just bash. I mean, he might do like in terms of on points, but you're not going to look at it and think, wow, he just beat the shit out of that bloke. And that's what Errol Spence's style is like. So when you see him fight someone who he can just get on and put body shot, push him back his shoulder, literally push him up into the rope and just start smashing them up, it looks very impressive. Now, is he going to be able to get, like, Kell Brook, push him back onto the ropes and just start low? I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I don't really see it, to be honest with you. I think it's going to be much more difficult. I think he's going to have to show us something very different. Now, whether he can or not, that remains to be seen. I mean, I don't think he's got completely one-dimensional. Just looking at the way he moves and looking at the way he sort of carries himself, his start, he looks to me like he does have different strings to his bow. But what's made him so successful and what's made him look so impressive is being able to sort of impose his just sort of physicality on people, to use that style. Now, will he be able to do that when he goes up in level? I don't know. I want to say as well, I think that, for me personally, in boxing, especially like American boxing, you don't really get that many Americans like traveling around the world to do it, to challenge like top champions. I'm saying it never happens, but it's rare. So that's something that I like about Errol Spence. I like his attitude going into this. I like the fact that he's basically saying Sean Porter came here Kell Brook come here to take the title from Sean Porter, took it back there. Let's be honest, mate, none of the champs in America have been particularly interested in trying to take that belt of Kell Brook. You can say what you want about basically these peoples and trilogies with whoever and whatever you want to say. Fact is, Keith Thurman, he didn't want to come over. He didn't want to fight Kell Brook. You can say what you want. In an interview once, he said he wanted to come over to the UK. Yeah, all right, mate. I believe that when I see it. Haven't seen it, so I don't believe it. Actions speak louder than words. Danny Garcia. Do you really think Danny Garcia was up for unifying with Kell Brook? Of course he wasn't. So Errol Spence, yeah, you can say he's at an earlier stage of his career, and he's got to sort of pay his dues more than those two. But still, I like his attitude. I like he's not interested in any of that. He basically thinks, yeah, I'll go to the UK. I don't care. Go over there, 30,000 people. I think he'll get a bit of a shock when he does get here, when he gets out to the crowd. But still, his attitude is, I'm going to go there. I'm going to fight who, in my opinion, is the best in the division. Obviously, some people won't agree with that, but that's what I think. He's going to go over there and fight him in Britain. So you've got to respect that kind of attitude. I mean, he could have taken an easier route. I know you say now he's mandatory, but he sort of built up to that route knowing where that would take him. Yeah, he could have gone after Keith Thurman, could have gone after Danny Garcia, all these characters, but he didn't. He chose to take the hard route, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, it's a sort of credit really to American boxing, because American boxing, I know like a lot of you think that you're the centre of the universe, but the rest of the world doesn't see it like that. So a lot of people look at America and think, yeah, there's like some. I mean, the welterweight division. Let's be honest, most of the top fighters are either American or in America, but we kind of look at you as people who don't really travel, don't really have the bollocks really to come and fight in front of 30,000 people in Sheffield to fight someone like Kell Brook. Errol Spence is doing that, so I think he deserves a lot of respect for that, and he deserves all the fans, the fanfare that he's getting from America. Now, to me, I don't really have a bad word to say about him. I mean, I like it. He seems to me like a really nice bloke. Never seen him say anything particularly disrespectful. I mean, I like trash talk and all that kind of stuff. If it's genuine and it's funny, I'm like a big fan of Fury, a few other characters. But I like people who are sort of genuine Errol Spence to me comes across as a really nice bloke. Don't have a bad word to say about him. But in the ring, he's a killer, and he's coming over to try to take the belt. Hopefully, it won't happen, but he will do. And but he will try. Sorry, he will do. As a slip, he'll try. So yeah, obviously, a lot of people in boxing get all like, oh, I'm on this side, so I've got to say like, fuck the other bloke. I don't think like that. I mean, I obviously am a fan of Kell Brook. I want Kell Brook to win, but it doesn't mean I've got anything against Errol Spence. Now I know, like in England, a lot of people have got a bit, or the UK, got a bit wound up by a lot of the American fans and a lot of they perceive as sort of disrespect. And yeah, you do get a lot of that on YouTube and social media. I mean, that seems to be the sort of style quite a lot in America. You see quite a lot of people. You saw here recently, Andre Ward came over. Floyd Mayweather has come over. Like recently, they sort of said people basically we like boxing, respect boxers. In America, it seems to be slightly different. A lot of them, at least that I can see, seem to basically hate boxing or like hate the boxers. And quite a lot of time, very negative, very disrespectful. So I think a lot of people maybe have got a bit annoyed by that. That might make them start to think, well, do you know what? Yeah, like fuck Errol Spence, blah blah blah. I don't think that's fair. I think Errol Spence is a class act. I think he's coming over here trying to do it the right way. I think he's a credit to boxing. So yeah, I don't really give a shit how many people are going to come on videos and say, "Oh, Kell Brook's a bitch. He's a faggot. He's this. Fuck you." It doesn't really affect how I view Errol Spence. So yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of gone on a little bit here. I just wanted to give my opinions, as I say, on this Spencer character. And yeah, look forward to a good fight come May. Hopefully, when he does go back to America with a loss on his record, people will still support him because I know if it was the other way around, we would. If someone goes over to America to take on like a tough challenge like that, give a good account of himself, came back, people would still support him. So hopefully, when Errol Spence does go back, and he does have an L on his record, people will still get behind him because I think he deserves it, and I think he'll be able to come again. I don't think I still would fancy him against Keith Thurman, against Danny Garcia. I still pick him to beat them. So when he loses to Kell Brook, it's not the end of the world. He's probably going to do himself proud in the fight, and yeah, so that's it, man. That's all I've got to say. Sorry about the waffling on for so long. Thank you very much for watching.